In March 2002, a 51-year-old former prison officer named John Darwin launched his canoe into the cold waters near his home in Seaton Carew, England. A few hours later, his damaged canoe was discovered. But John Darwin was nowhere to be found. Rescue teams searched the coastline, helicopters scanned the sea, volunteers combed the beaches, nothing. There was no body, no sign of survival. Eventually, everyone reached the same conclusion. John Darwin had drowned. His wife, Anne, was devastated. Their two sons mourned their father. Friends and neighbours spoke about the tragic accident. The case was eventually closed. But there was one problem. John Darwin wasn't dead. He had carefully planned the entire disappearance. At the time, John and Anne were drowning in debt. They had borrowed heavily, invested in rental properties, and were struggling financially. The couple believed they had found a way out. If John disappeared at sea, people would assume he had died in a tragic accident. And that's exactly what happened. After vanishing, John secretly returned home. For a while, he lived inside a small hidden room in the family house. Later, he moved into a neighbouring property owned by the family. For years, John lived only a few feet away from the home where people believed he had died. What's even more shocking is that their own sons reportedly believed their father was dead. While everyone else grieved, John and Anne quietly worked on the next stage of their plan. Because the goal was never just to fake his death. The goal was to start a completely new life. Once John was legally declared dead, Anne began collecting money. Life insurance payouts arrived, pension benefits were paid. The couple eventually gained access to hundreds of thousands of pounds. Now they needed somewhere to disappear. That's when they turned their attention to Panama. At the time, Panama was becoming popular with British retirees and investors. Property was relatively affordable, the climate was warm, and most importantly, it was far away from anyone who knew them. John and Anne travelled there multiple times. They explored real estate opportunities. They looked into opening businesses. According to reports, they even discussed obtaining residency and building a new life under different circumstances. For a while, it seemed like the plan was working. Then everything started to unravel. In 2007, John suddenly appeared at a police station in London. He claimed he had no memory of the previous 5 years. According to his story, he didn't know who he was or how he had ended up there. The story immediately attracted attention. Some people believed him. Others were suspicious. Investigators started digging deeper. Then they found something devastating: a photograph. The picture had been taken in Panama in 2006. It showed John and Anne standing together, smiling at the camera. There was only one problem. At the time the photo was taken, John Darwin was officially dead. The photograph destroyed the entire story. Investigators quickly uncovered more evidence linking the couple to the fraud: the fake disappearance, the insurance money, the secret trips abroad, the plans for a new life in Panama. Everything came crashing down. In 2008, both John and Anne Darwin were convicted. John was sentenced to prison for fraud and deception. Anne was also sent to prison for her role in the scheme. The man everyone thought had drowned at sea had actually spent years hiding in plain sight. And after pulling off one of Britain's most famous fake deaths, he was ultimately exposed by something incredibly simple: a single photograph.